Perfect. Okay, so we are recording. So welcome everyone to our season finale of Local Skills Academy. We just wanted to take a minute to thank everyone for joining us weekly or whenever you could. I know Arden kind of came up with this idea and we launched it in a hurry. And the whole goal was just to create a way that we could still gather as a community and kind of feel a little bit connected, even though we aren't really allowed to gather for events and things that we traditionally did. And when you run into people at Sassy's or at the mailbox, a lot of people are talking about just how much they miss being able to physically see one another and not have those events and milestones to celebrate. So anyway, this is what the purpose of the Local Skills Academy has been, just a little bit of a way to connect and see some neighbors and family, but also just to create more awareness for the local businesses and all the different skills and services that we have around. So I think it's been a great success. I think people learned about new businesses and learned new things about, alpacas and organic farming and all sorts of things. So I just wonder, does anybody have any feedback? Like if we are, rolling back around to next fall and winter and we're hibernating again, would you like us to do season 2 of Local Skills Academy, or is everybody pretty well zoomed out? Got a nod from Jackie.
I loved it, and I hope you do it again, even if we aren't hunkered down.
Okay, awesome. Thumbs up from the DeClarks and from Jan and Elaine, Nancy, Debbie, Ethan. All right.
What about any idea of different skills that you'd like us to explore? Anything that comes to mind?
The flower people, Dan and Brian, I forget their name, but they grow flowers and sell them.
Yeah.
Debbie knows them. She can tell you.
Wandering Bee fresh cut flowers. So the Dan and Bronwyn one.
Yeah.
I think they may have emailed you, but you were already filled up maybe for this year.
Yeah, they did. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, well, we'll put them to the top of the list for the next time for sure.
Perfect.
Anybody else? Any other skills?
We have a suggestion here in the chat from sorry, I lost it, but it was a suggestion for beekeepers or beekeeping. And then Janice, the lettuce growers. And I think is it Plover Mills hydroponics or something like that? Okay, I'm writing these down. Beekeeping and lettuce.
What about a wine tasting?
Yeah.
Is that not appropriate?
Well, it's very appropriate. We had the Anderson ales.
Pockets. Demon cider tasting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Anderson ales was definitely very popular and got a really diverse demographic out. So we know that people are interested in beverages. So, okay, perfect.
What did we go through? Sorry, Jeannie's asking, what did we cover this season? So we did, I can't even remember.
Well, what do you want me to just go to the website and we can see
Yes.
all the videos? So let me just take you there 1 second. So if you missed it, let me just share my screen. All the recordings are on our website, so you can pop there anytime and see what they were. They're all about an hour, so you can skip through if you want. So we had Franklin's Paw Spas. So she talked about grooming at home when the groomers were closed. We had Debbie Zeraldo from Zeraldo Alpacas with a really informative, story about, alpacas and her business. It was excellent. They were all excellent. We had Gavin from Anderson Ales with beer tasting. And with him, we were able to order beer and have free delivery to Thorndale. Then we had Lily Lane Decor and Design, and she was profiling country chic paint, and she refinished these end tables, which, side note, Arden actually went there and bought them. So that worked out. Then we had the Market on King, and they're actually now open at the farm now at the Sorenson's farm. So we'll get that information updated. We had a real estate panel that included a mortgage broker and that was it on the real estate panel, right? Then we had Dr. K, Thorndale Chiropractic, talking about some self-care and managing posture and pain and that sort of stuff at home. And last week was all about organic farming with edible acres. So that was really informative too, to see the process they have to go through for being certified organic and all that kind of stuff. So that is our season in review.
Becky, what about having somebody come on and talk about the community center and how to book certain time slots and what kind of programs are going to be offered?
Yeah, perfect. I think so I don't know if you know this, but Thames Center has a YouTube page where they now have their council meetings, so you can go in and watch them. So the other night I was updating our website and just was playing their council meeting in the background. They're trying to get like a recorded tour of the space so that they can share it with the community too, since we can't do tours. But so I might just put the suggestion to them to add to it how to book the space and what's offered, since they own it and manage it and that kind of stuff. So that's I'll forward that to Steve.
Sherry just posted profiling service organizations.
Yeah.
Good idea. So we have a whole new roster of ideas.
Yeah. Season 2 is booked. Come back
That's
in
right.
the fall. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started because I know we've got a lot to share. So thank you for your suggestions. I think it's great to have input. And we will get organized for next season. So this week's topic, we've been sharing little tidbits of information, but we're happy to reveal today that Youth of Thorndale now rents a space at 160 King Street, which is owned by Tim Muir. And it is going to be called the Thorndale Community Hub and Youth Clubhouse. So we went there on Saturday and Arden did a little bit of a tour. So we've recorded it. So we're just going to share that now so that everybody can see what it is, what it's all about, why we think it's a pretty big deal, and how it complements the community center. Because I know that might be a question like, what are you doing that for? And then Ethan, who's one of the representatives for the Youth Clubhouse, is going to talk about why this space is so significant to the youth members of our community and what they have planned. So, we could talk about why it's important, but I think it's more important to hear right from the youth. So anyway, so if we're ready, I am going to pull up YouTube and I had some technical difficulties in streaming this all together into one video. So it's going to be in 3 parts. So you'll have time for a commercial break maybe. All right, so here goes part 1, which is a really short clip, but oops, sorry. You don't have a mouse, it drives me bonkers. Okay.
Welcome to the Thorndale Community Hub and Youth Clubhouse. Come on in and take a look. Look at Dr. K's sign. Love Thorndale. Right. Hi. Welcome to the Thorndale Community Hub and Youth Clubhouse. So right now we are standing in the building at 160 King. So this is a building that I think was initially a schoolhouse. And then the fire hall was here before it moved down the street. And now it's owned by Tim Muir. So Tim Muir runs the Thorndale Repair Shop. It houses a variety of different businesses. So right here, see the Thorndale Chiropractic with Dr. K. So you can find Dr. K in this building. There's a woman who's an RN who offers a variety of different services, including first aid. And we have Sheena Ball, who's a registered massage therapist. Both Dr. K and Sheena can be found on ilovethorndale.ca, listed under our business directory. Okay, so right behind me, that open door there is what we're calling the Thorndale Community Hub and Youth Clubhouse. So I'm just gonna, before we go in there, I wanna explain a little bit about why we have this space and what we plan to do with it. So a little bit of history. The Youth Clubhouse was a vision of youth that live here in Thorndale. So about a year and a half ago, I Love Thorndale was approached by the London Community Foundation and RBC Bank. They had a grant available to support youth initiatives, youth projects, youth activities. And they knew that we were a very active community and approached us to ask if we could engage some youth in our community to determine what they'd like to see. So basically what happened is we invited youth from Thorndale to come and have a conversation with us and walk around, talk about what happens in Thorndale now, as well as what they'd like to see in the future. And so I think that it was agreed that they wanted to see more youth opportunities, more activities. There wasn't a lot for them to do, so they referenced the skate park as somewhere that they go when the weather is nice. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot that was youth-friendly, youth-focused. So they identified that they hang around outside of Sassy's and other places, but are looking for a place to go, a place to meet each other, to engage in activities. And so they identified having a space for themselves as the priority. So they went ahead, so there was a group of youth that went ahead and applied for the grant. They secured $15,000 from London Community Foundation and RBC Bank at that time to establish what they called as the Youth Clubhouse. Initially, the idea was that we would work and have it located at the community center. However, that hasn't been able to be the case. The community center has other uses. And so we started to look at what we could do to create this youth-friendly space in another location. So approached a few different places. Nick Massey at the dental center has actually been hosting meetings of the Youth of Thorndale group. So that's an actual leadership group that has spun out of this work. So there is a group of youth that meet every week on Tuesdays at 4:30, and we have been working and meeting out of the Thorndale Dental Center. We actually talked to Nick about converting his basement into the Youth Clubhouse. There was some challenges with that, which led us to look into other opportunities and other spaces, brought us to this space. Conversation with Tim. Tim was very excited about the opportunity to host the youth here, to work with us to create a space. And so here we are today. So now we're entering the Thorndale Community Hub and Youth Clubhouse. So this space, I wish that I had something to share with you, and maybe I will. When we first came in for a tour, it was a space that had, I'm sure you can see, wood paneling. Across here, there was a wall that's been taken down since. So it was two office spaces and then this open area. The wall sort of behind was had some old wallpaper. So it was, the space looked old, looked like it needed an update. And since we moved in the direction of establishing the clubhouse and hub here, Kim Cerrone actually has taken the lead working with the youth to renovate this space. So taking this wall down, painting the entire room, including the trim, doing all of this work on the wall. So they removed all of the wallpaper and then made this wall, this older wall, look a lot better, a lot cleaner, a lot more modern. And she's actually been working with a variety of other volunteers and community members who have donated a lot of different things and a little bit of money to bring some of this furniture and this equipment into the space. So the vision of the youth, or the vision that the youth had, was to create a lounge space, a space where they could hang out, where they could meet each other, where they could engage with different activities. Their priorities were a TV gaming system. So we actually have a Wii now, we have a Xbox, and I believe we may even have a PlayStation. So we have this set up. We have a nice, obviously, sectional here. We have a few beanbag chairs that can be moved around in order to create more of a seating space. We also have some folding chairs. So we have lots of flexibility in seating for this lounge and gaming area. And then the other priority was pool table. So the youth felt that they wanted to be able to play pool. And so this pool table was donated by a resident actually of London who approached the Boys and Girls Club and was interested in offering this as a donation. So this was donated and he actually had it refelted for this purpose. So this was established, and then moving into here, this foosball table was donated by the Boys and Girls Club. This air hockey table has been purchased new. And was a donation, was purchased with a donation from Kim Sarone's mother-in-law. So thank you for that. Excited to have an air hockey table. So this is obviously a nice activity space, a place where a variety of different young people can spend time in doing a variety of different things. And then if you come in here, this is a office space. So this office space is a space that will be used by the Boys and Girls Club. So the Boys and Girls Club will be the organization that oversees the Youth Clubhouse. So specifically the youth drop-in times. I Love Thorndale has rented this space, or I Love Community has rented this space, and we're going to use it for a variety of purposes, but the Youth Clubhouse requires additional support. So we hope to open this space a few times a week for youth to come and drop in, as well as to provide opportunities for youth to engage in activities and clubs. So we as an organization aren't in the position of being able to sustain that type of operation. And the Boys and Girls Club has been working in Thorndale for a few years now. They're very experienced in offering youth programs, have the policies and have the infrastructure to do so. And so we've partnered with the Boys and Girls Club. They will be hiring the staff and they will support the Youth Clubhouse specifically. So this is where their staff will be. And this is also a nice quiet spot for youth who would like to, play a board game. So we've got a variety of board games that have been donated. Maybe just read a book, do some coloring, whatever it is that they want to do, they can do in this sort of quiet space. So in addition to all of the great things that we're going to do with youth, for youth, so that's an important, I think, piece to share, is that the Youth of Thorndale will be a part of and have been a part of establishing this space, as well as creating a schedule of activities. They're going to be involved with the Boys and Girls Club in ensuring that whatever we do here is relevant to youth in Thorndale. So that will be something that we really put an emphasis on. This space is primarily going to be used for youth. However, in addition to that, we are hoping to use the space for community members who would like to use it for lots of different purposes. So we see the potential of family board game nights. We see the potential of a book club meeting here. We see leagues where they play pool or, maybe eventually some darts. We have, lots of capacity for this to be a lounge space that could be used by community members. So we are working on what that's going to look like, and we are going to be reaching out to community members like you to say, how can you help us to envision what this space could be used for our community? So this is really about creating community for both youth and for residents in Thorndale. So really excited about that. We see this as a great complement to the new community center that has a great gym space and hall space and some meeting rooms. This is a lounge space. You can see it's very different than what you would be doing maybe at the community center. This is much more of a sort of social, lower key, less physical focused activity space. So we would love to hear from you about what you'd like to see happen here and work with you to create those opportunities.
Becky, you're on mute.
Classic. Thank you. Okay, so we have one more video in this. It's part 3. So is anybody surprised by what they've seen? No?
Great. It's great.
It's awesome.
It's pretty impressive. So let me just get part 3 up here with a little finale, and then we'll talk all about it a little bit more.
So now that you've got a sense of our vision, what we've been thinking about and how we'd like to see the space used, we wanted to share a little bit about next steps. So where we are right now is we have a space that, you know, we've invested some time and energy in creating this lovely space to be used, and now we're trying to figure out how can we utilize it in the future to support our community, and we need you for that. So I Love Thorndale has rented this space from Tim Muir. We are paying a rental fee every month to access it. We also are paying to access internet. We are also going to be looking at supporting, as I said, the staff that will be overseeing this youth center. So the Boys and Girls Club will manage that, but we are looking for support to ensure that we have money to continue to sustain this space for youth, as well as materials, supplies, and anything else that's required to run a space. So we're at a point where we're able to sustain some of this work with the youth using some of the RBC LCF funding. However, that will run out, and we are going to be looking at some financial support that's required in order to sustain this for our community. So that leads me to sharing some opportunities. So we see an opportunity for others to use this space, absolutely, for activities and socials that support our community, including those that may want access to it for free. So an example might be a book club. So if you run a book club in your neighborhood and would love to have access to this space, there's an opportunity there to partner with us. However, we recognize that you probably won't be able to charge participants to join a book club. So we are going to be asking for some sort of sponsorship support to ensure that groups like that can still use the space. But there are other opportunities to rent the space. So we are looking at the possibility of hosting birthday parties here, for supporting socials like, let's say, the Super Bowl or another type of independent private social that could use the space and pay a bit of a rent to help us support and sustain the space. Another opportunity would be a league of some sort where people pay into that league, and then a certain amount of that money can come to I Love Community or I Love Thorndale to, like I said, pay the rent or help us to sustain the space as well. So there's going to be lots of opportunities for community members to access the space for free, but also maybe consider ways that you can support us to sustain the space by charging minimal fees for access to an activity that you would run out of here. So we're looking at all of those possibilities, and in the next little while, so in April, we are going to be opening up the space for youth as well as community members to kind of explore what we could do here. So the Youth of Thorndale has already come up with a bit of a plan in terms of a schedule. So they've identified some drop-in times for youth. All of the members are getting access to the space for 2 hours within the month of April to bring their own friends through and spend some time and use the space, and then give us some feedback about what they'd like to see. We're also looking at that possibility for other community members. So we'd like you to reach out to us if you have a vision for what you'd like to do here. You know, another example of something that could be done here is lessons. So, you know, maybe it could be used as a space for tutoring. It could be used as a space for teaching guitar or ukulele. So it has the capacity to offer a lot of different options here. And if you have a vision for using the space, we would like to hear from you. The other option is for businesses to rent the space. So we do know that some of our local businesses are run out of homes, and they may be looking for space to meet clients or customers at certain times. Maybe they're just looking for an office space that's outside of their home as a quiet space to make calls or to do their work. So we would like to talk to you about that. During the day, the youth won't be utilizing the space, and so we have some flexibility for offering space to businesses. So that sort of, I think, kind of frames up what we think could be the possibilities. And we are, like I said, in April, look for information about what we're going to do to invite you in, to show you the space, to talk about what we could do here. In the meantime, reach out to us. You should know how to find us, so you can reach out through social media, email us at info@ilovethorndale.ca. You'll also find that in the next little while, we're going to have a page on our website that will have a calendar of the things that have been booked and some of the things that we're doing. And you'll be able to book space through our website. We're hoping starting sometime in April. So look for updates on that through social media. And like I said, reach out to us if you have an idea of how you'd like to use the space. Just before I wrap this up, I wanted to do a bit of a shout out to Aaron Goris and the JWA team. So JWA is a marketing firm in London, but Aaron Goris is a local resident. And if you don't know, JWA Group does all of the marketing, promotion, design work for I Love Community, I Love Thorndale, as well as a variety of other service clubs in London. They've done all of our work for free, including establishing our website twice. So we actually had an initial website, and then they revamped it and created a whole new website for us for free. So they've been working with us on the sponsorship package for for creating opportunities in this space. So look for that sponsorship package. It's going to be coming out very shortly. They've done all the design work and gone back and forth with us many times to design that for us to reach out to community members to get support to sustain this community space. So shout out to Aaron Goris and the JWA team. Thank you very much. And then lastly, I wanted to bring some attention to the Youth Clubhouse and the involvement of the youth. So as I said, the Youth of Thorndale and the initial group that secured the funding for the Youth Clubhouse, they've been working really hard at creating opportunities and kind of envisioning how they want to use this space. They've created a code of conduct. We also put out a bit of a competition for a logo for the Youth Clubhouse, and a variety of different youth submitted artwork. All of it was very impressive, and we were so grateful to have their contribution. We did a little bit of a vote, and we did choose a logo. So Derek Lucas was able to win that competition. So his design was chosen as the logo for the Youth Clubhouse. So we're going to be creating that logo so that we can use it to promote the clubhouse in the future. So shout out to Engaging Youth and to Derek Lucas for creating that logo that we will use in the future. So thank you. We hope to hear from you soon.
Okay, there you have it. There's the space. This is what's going on. And I just see there's a question from Janine. What is the capacity of the youth clubhouse? Do you mean like how many people can be inside at one time? Arden, do you want to?
It depends on COVID. So for right now, I would say 10 is probably a comfortable number in terms of spacing out appropriately. But in the future, I would say comfortably, it's a space that would accommodate about 15 people. Because we have sort of a variety of different spaces, but it's not a large space. It's 700 square feet, if that helps.
Perfect. Okay. So next I'm going to turn it over to Ethan. Ethan's going to share, he's the voice of the Youth Clubhouse right now. So I know his parents are here and obviously so proud. And yeah, it's definitely incredible to have youth involved in this way. So Ethan, if you want to share a little bit about, what this means for the community, then it's all yours.
Yeah, thank you. We really made the youth clubhouse because a lot of the youth, well, we came together as a group and we've all decided that it's really going to help the youth stay out of trouble, especially with all the ongoing and uprising nonsense that's really happening at the skate parks and around town. It's just going to keep youth, it's going to keep them on track, really. And it's going to help everybody meet new people because now we really just stick to groups that we know, whether it be we grew up with them or whatever. And it'll really help people mingle and just get to know one another, make the community stronger. And really, it's just a place for the youth to gather. Like Arden said, we only have the skate park and the basketball court. We have really been able to hang out, and outside of Sassy's, which is considered loitering to some people. So we would just like to have a place for us to peacefully gather. And it just gives a place and a time for kids to have structured activities, whether it be those clubs that Arden was talking about, or video game tournaments, or possibly board game, and just other things that youth can think of. The clubhouse will be running a couple new activities during the month of April. There will be a badminton night at the community center, as well as, I believe, chess tournaments run by Noah Ament. This clubhouse is also helping out the dog park that we're trying to get into Thorndale. I think we were talking about putting a cookbook out, and there's going to be a lot of sports activities that we're going to be able to hold. So we're thinking of either different, not teams, but rec leagues, or a youth beer league. Other possibilities we're thinking of is having a back 40 bash, but for the youth, just not the adults. And as well as doing another food truck night, because it was pretty popular within Thorndale. So there'll be the rent out that Arden was talking about for people to just rent it for their recreational activities, as well as the drop-in dates we discussed were Friday for kids that weren't in high school and Saturdays for kids that are in high school, just because of the times, especially with the high school students working. A lot of people have their Saturdays off instead of their Fridays. And that's really all I had to say.
Ethan, can you talk a little bit about what it's meant to be involved in this? How you've benefited, maybe what you've learned, and just maybe just the importance of youth leadership?
Yeah. It's really helped me just be able to talk to people. Before I was pretty shy, and this has kind of helped, especially being helping be a leader of a team and actually getting something done within the community. It has made me realize how much of community Thorndale actually is. All the sponsorships we've been receiving, all of the donations, it's really quite incredible.
Amazing. So I just want to shout out to Ethan. So Ethan was part of so I don't even remember, Ethan, when this was, but we, when RBC
increased to approached us in Canada, which is really sad. Mustangs track and field coach Vicky.
Somebody's joining. Okay. So we were approached to engage youth and put out a message, and a variety of youth came. We wandered around Thorndale. Ethan was part of that very first conversation. And then when the woman from LCF came and presented on the grant, then a number of youth, Ryan Cerrone, Josh Ament, or Jacob Ament, there's quite a few of them that then wrote the grant. And then secured the grant, and then we tried to sort of propose it to different stakeholders, and then the community center burnt down. So they've been sustaining this and this vision since before the community center burnt down, and still are here championing it. And Ethan's my like go-to. Ethan, can you try to get everybody on board? Can you communicate this? You know, so Ethan, you're a really strong leader, and I appreciate your help with this.
Thank you so much.
I think it's really, it says a lot. And I have to say, like, it's funny, Ethan, that you said that about like showing you how strong a community this is. Like, I have to say that this work has shown me what strong young people, young leaders we have. Like, I'm so impressed with the fact that this group was established, has sustained this, you know, we've established the Clubhouse, and they continue to meet, and this leadership group continues to grow, and they have lots of other ideas, including trying to establish a dog park. I mean, we're trying to create a youth space, and then they're like, oh, well, why don't we establish a dog park at the same time? So the energy and enthusiasm is immense, and it's hard to keep up with. But Ethan, you definitely started something that I think will continue hopefully into the future. So well done.
Thank you, Arden. You've really helped all of us, honestly.
All right, so moving on. Thanks, Ethan. Moving on to next steps. So Becky, is that you, me? I think you're muted.
I know. It's you. I'm just madly typing in all these names into like a draw, and there's just like an insane amount of participants. It's impressive. So anyway,
Awesome.
do you want me to share the sponsorship?
Share the membership one first.
Okay.
So, gosh, I don't love being on video. It was a bit painful, but hopefully you got a sense of, we've created a space, you know, that's meant to be for youth. So that was where the vision started, was creating an opportunity for youth to gather. As Ethan said, you know, I don't know if you know this, but there are high school students and even upper elementary school students that go to a variety of different schools. So, you know, they go to Dorchester, they go to John Paul II, they go to Medway, they go to French immersion schools, they go, you know, to schools in, you know, elementary schools in Dorchester. So the youth in our community actually are already kind of separate through schools. And as Ethan said, I think in social circles, they're also separate. So having a neutral space, having a place where they can all gather, I think is really meaningful. And what I heard loud and clear when we walked through the community, we talked a lot about like, we just, you know, we stopped in places and we said, like, what does this mean to you? Like, what do youth do here? And what I heard was there's not a whole lot for that age group happening in Thorndale. And as we all know, our community is growing really swiftly. And a lot of young families are moving in because of the school and because of these new subdivisions. And all of these young kids, they grow and they become young people. And wouldn't it be great if they all become young leaders and feel invested in their community? I see the Youth of Thorndale, and that, to be clear, the Clubhouse group was established just for the Clubhouse. So Ethan was a part of that. But from that, we actually have started the Youth of Thorndale. So the Youth of Thorndale is a leadership group, and the Youth of Thorndale has been doing things to create activities even without a space. So we've run a variety of different events and activities, and we have a growing membership for that group. So we probably have 20 members, and I have checked emails recently, and we have new people wanting to join all the time. And I think it's because of people like Ethan and others that, you know, have shown that, you know, you can take an idea and then action it, right? Like, youth can make things happen. And that's what we're proving. And I think that that's what's gaining momentum, is young people want to be involved with that. I also think that they're super excited about this space. So we've signed the lease agreement for April 1st. So Tim knows that we've brought the youth through a few times just to take a look at it and have a conversation about how we want to use it. And they're really pumped. They want to bring their friends through. They want to invite others. They want to create opportunities. And I'm sure you can all agree, the space looks, I think, quite amazing. I wish I had a picture of the before. Maybe if Kim's on here and she can share a screen, or she may have a before picture, but it's quite a transformation. And I really do think, I don't know, Ethan, if you can speak to this, does it sort of have all of the components that you wanted to see? Like, have we kind of nailed it, or is there anything that
like ever since we made that list right at the beginning, everything's pretty much nailed right off of it.
See? Amazing. So it is what the youth want, and I think the youth are going to use it well. And by, I think, bringing the youth groups through, so all of the members of the Youth of Thorndale, so that's approximately 20 members, are given the opportunity in April to book the space for 2 hours just to bring their friends through. So that will be a really great way to get all of these members to bring different groups of youth through and get a sense of the space and talk about what they'd like to see. So we're super excited about that. And quite frankly, by doing all of that, it's going to create new exciting ideas, because what I'm finding with the youth is if you say, you know, what can we do? They've got lots of lists of things that they want to see happen. So that brings me to a request right off the bat is, if you're on here and you're thinking, you know what, I really like what's happening here and I want to get involved, please reach out because, you know, I only have so much time in a day, and we have other volunteers, but I think there's lots of momentum, and I think that we could use more people who want to work with youth. So reach out and connect, and we'll definitely hook you up with an opportunity to support this work. And then further to that, beyond the youth being involved, they can, you know, drop in, they could become members. Becky's going to share a document, I think, about sort of the fee structure. So we have decided that we are going to charge for access to the space for youth, primarily because we feel like there's some sort of ownership in that. So we're trying to make it pretty reasonable. We're not trying to charge so much that young people can't get access, but we want to feel like they've invested. So we've come up with a bit of a structure. This has been endorsed by the youth. So the youth feel that this makes sense to them. Hopefully it makes sense to you as parents as well. So your feedback is really appreciated. So in order to sustain, so if you can go up to the top, Becky, I want to show the awesome logo. And that's the logo for the Youth of Thorndale Clubhouse. And as I mentioned in the video, Derek Lucas designed this logo. So yay for Derek. We did have a logo competition, and this was the winning logo. So that is the logo. And then in terms of access to the clubhouse, so they have decided that they would like to see a drop-in fee. So if a young person wants to drop in to access the clubhouse, we would be charging $2 to get access. Kim has arranged for, actually, I think Brenda Tipping donated it, a little fridge and a place that we could have, you know, chips or popcorn. And so we'll probably sell some snacky things. So we're thinking a young person could bring $5, get in, and then pay for some snacks when they're there. Or we thought probably for those who are going to access it quite a bit, it'd probably be easier for them not to have to pay every time, that they pay a membership. So the youth felt that a $25 membership was a reasonable amount to charge for a year to get access to drop-in activities. And then we were thinking discount on any kind of registered program. So if a program is going to cost us money to run, then we might charge for that. But you know, if you're a member, you might get a bit of a discount on that. So that's the idea, is to have that money come in for access to the clubhouse. And then obviously that will help sustain some of the operational costs. And then the other idea that was that we have is to create a family membership. So if you have a few young people in your family that would access programs and drop in, that you might get a family membership. Obviously, that membership would go to help support this. It would give the youth members in your household access for free. You would get 2 free facility bookings. So if you thought, you know what, it'd be great to bring my family there and play some pool or hang out, you would get 2 bookings, which would be valued at $100, because we've decided that we will start to rent the space for $50 for 2 hours. That's the rate that we feel is a reasonable rate and competitive compared to what other community spaces are being rented for. And then 1 free registration for a fee-based program renting out of the clubhouse. So we are anticipating having programs for different ages. I'm actually in conversations right now with a visual artist who has some ideas for some really cool art programs. So we're hoping to run a variety of those. And as I said, facility booking for $50 for 2 hours. That's sort of the access fees and the structure that we're proposing. Any feedback about that? No? Seem reasonable to you? Yeah? Okay. Ethan says yes. Okay, perfect. Moving on.
I want to mention, someone said, I love the logo, and the logo creator's grandma is here, Nancy.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so moving on, another opportunity for, so I guess, right, youth clubhouse, the youth are going to drive what's going on there. They've written a code of conduct, very much youth driven. So we're really excited about that. And by doing that, I just have to share. So I don't know if you know much about me, but I do work for the Boys and Girls Club. And my career I've spent working in youth leadership. So that's been my primary role. Right now I'm a manager, but that's my passion and that's my role. And I've seen youth spaces be created and not be well utilized. And I would say the biggest part of that is that youth haven't been driving that. So we're really invested in making sure that the youth are part of the decisions about that space, how it's used, you know, what's happening there, and that they are able to be part of all of those discussions ongoing, so that we know that it is relevant to them. So super excited about that. And then of course we also want to use it. So the reason we called it the Thorndale Community Hub and Youth Clubhouse is because there's going to be times where the youth aren't available. They're in school or things are going on or they're not using it. So we want to be able to offer a variety of other activities there. So that's hence the youth, sort of the Thorndale Community Hub. So we want to hear from you about things that you'd like to see, and we want to create those opportunities. But here is another opportunity for the community to support this. So we are launching, which is really challenging, and I'm going to be really honest with you. We understand that you've just fundraised for a community center. We were part of some of that. We, you know, donated ourselves, we invested, we pushed for that. And it was really hard for us to decide to move in this direction of creating another space. But I hope you can see that it's a complementary space. It's a space that will have different uses. It really matters. What we want to do is say to the youth, you know what, you've got this vision, this is where you want to be, but there's not a way that we can create that. So we think it's a great complement to the community center, but it does need to be sustained. And so we are going to be looking for sponsorship. So this is the sponsorship packages. And what you'll see here, we'll share it out. So if you're on our email distribution list, you'll get a copy of it. We're going to be sending it out to all of our business partners. So I Love Thorndale works with a variety of local businesses. We're going to share it with them. But I want to kind of bring your attention to a couple things. One is that the sponsorship is meant to help sustain the operations of this space, the youth clubhouse, as well as the sponsor and support any kind of activities that wouldn't be fee-based. So I think I mentioned in the video, book club as an example. So if someone in our community says, you know what, I'd really like to initiate a book club, or I want to have a conversation about, I don't know, something important that's happening in the community, we want to be able to offer the space. So we don't want to have to say, okay, for $50, you can have that really important conversation about safety. Right? Like, we don't want to have to do that. And so what we've done with the sponsorship packages is we've actually said, you know, the amount of money you're investing, you will give access to a certain amount of youth or a certain amount of community members to create opportunities. So instead of having to charge groups to get access to it, we have the sponsorship in order to help us sustain it. So that's kind of the language. If it doesn't make sense, it's basically the sponsors will help to support other activities that aren't going to have a fee attached to it. We're going to have, you know, your traditional plaques. We're actually going to create something that, and it's something I actually haven't run by Ethan and the crew, but the idea is to create something that is designed by the youth, but that would have the plaques on it that would be able to be mounted on the wall at the clubhouse. But if for some reason we change locations, we would be able to take that with us. So that's the idea. And then we also, I Love Thorndale, if you don't know this, we partner with our local businesses to sustain our work. So they help us pay for our insurance and host our website and do a lot of, sponsor us to do a lot of things that we do. We are offering lifetime listings for certain businesses that come in at a certain level. So basically honoring that by giving them the listing on our directory and providing support through I Love Thorndale. So because we believe in this initiative and we believe in this work, and I Love Thorndale has also taken some of the money that we've raised over the last little while, and we've said that we would allocate that to help sustain this as well. And we hope to do that into the future. So, you know, Becky, Sherry, others that are directors have decided that we anticipate being able to fundraise a certain portion to help to sustain this as well. Anyway, that's my soapbox moment. Is there any ideas, questions, anything to share? Throwing it out to you.
There's a couple questions in the chat. If you want me to do those first. Okay, so sorry, one sec. Where did they go? What if a person just wants to give a donation? Would a tax receipt be given?
Yes. So the Thorndale Optimists are quite amazing, as I'm sure you know. And they have, we intend to partner with them very strategically into the future with the Youth of Thorndale. But in the meantime, the conversation has been they will accept donations and they will issue tax receipts for this project.
Arden, it's Shane.
Yes.
So if you wanted to run a fundraiser, would the Optimists allow you to use their charitable donate or their registration number for like a lotto license or something like that?
You know what? I Love Thorndale is looking into a lottery license. So we can support with that. But yes, I imagine, I mean, the Optimists have said, so what happened when Ethan and the crew got that grant is we actually had the Optimists hold that money. So the Optimists have been holding that $15,000 since then. So they had, for whatever reason, they established a separate bank account. So when I approached them with the idea that we would like the money for this to flow to them, he said, we've already got it established. We might as well run it through this account. So yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay, thanks.
A question from Sherry, will the Boys and Girls Club handle the money and the memberships?
So to some degree, yes. What we're going to do is we're going to fundraise and have all of the money directed to the Optimist. And then the Boys and Girls Club will only receive the amount of money to sustain the cost of the staffing. So because that's really the only reason the Boys and Girls Club has insurance. There'll be an agreement between those two parties. But in terms of, there's quite significant liabilities to running a youth drop-in center. So that will be covered by the Boys and Girls Club as well as the staff. The staff will be hired through the Boys and Girls Club because, you know, they'll be screened properly, they'll be trained properly, they'll follow the Boys and Girls Club policy. So that's what we see, is that the money will flow to the Optimists and then a certain amount will be given to the Boys and Girls Club to sustain the operations of the staffing primarily. That make sense?
And Janice asks, who would you send a personal donation to?
So the Thorndale Optimist Club.
Just make sure you reference it's for the youth clubhouse.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, like I said, the sponsorship package will be shared. I don't know, we'll put it on our website. It'll be shared through our email distribution list, and we'll try to get it out to people. But and if you know of anyone that you think would be interested in donating, if you're connected to a local business. I mean, the fact that we're giving, or the optimists are willing to write tax receipts, I think it lends to business sponsorship if they're interested. So, you know, we've got some parents that have said they'd be on board to do some fundraising. The reality of it is that it's going to take some money to keep this ship going, and you know, we're invested and the youth are invested. I want to share that too. Like, they're not saying, you know, we need full sponsorship. They want to fundraise. I mean, we've got a group of youth right now that are learning how to do graphic design so that they can design a community cookbook. So look for that too. There's going to be a request for Jackie's famous pie, or soup, or something like that. If you have a world famous or Thorndale famous recipe and you're willing to part with it, we'd like to collect it for the community cookbook, because the youth are going to design it and then we're going to produce it and sell it. They also want to do, as Ethan said, the food truck event went over really, really well. And actually the food trucks have reached out to us to say they'd like to do it again with us. They want to bring more food trucks and they want to find another location. So the good news is that, I don't know if anyone knows this, but there was no permissions to have food trucks on the fairgrounds when we tried to do it the first time. So Pat and Jane were very generous and let us use their property. But if we have to bring more food trucks, we need a bigger space. So it's going to council, I think, beginning of April, to look at a bylaw that will allow for food trucks on the fairgrounds. So that might be something that we're looking at too. But basically the youth are really invested. Like, honestly, they're amazing and they've got lots going on. So, and the money that flows for this, that flows for sponsorship, will go into all of their projects. So we're going to make sure, obviously, like, you know, if you don't know this already, I don't make any money doing this. Becky doesn't make any money doing this. We're not getting rich. Everything goes back into the work that's happening. Any other comments or questions?
So can you please add Andrew and I to the email list? Yes, we'll do that. I will do that. I'm just writing it down. I'm still like madly typing in everybody's names for the draw. I'm almost there. Okay. I just want to mention too, like Arden mentioned it before, but if anyone is interested in having a role to play in this project, or I Love Thorndale, we are all ears and happy to help, you know, weave you into this fabric here. So if it's like co-leading, you know, receiving memberships or fundraising or anything, any campaign we can dream up, then you just let us know and we will happily share some of that if you've got those skills.
Kim's already become a member of I Love Thorndale. I don't know if she knows this, but
yep.
I'm aware.
Okay, I've got one more name to type in here and then we can do our draw.
I don't actually have the items. They're kind of scattered, but I'll go through what's in the draw. So if you don't know this already, if you haven't participated, we said at the beginning of the series of Local Skills Academy that we would do a draw for a basket of goodies at the end. For those who participated, we would do a draw. So I think it's a 6-pack of Anderson's Ale variety pack, a Anderson's t-shirt, insoles from Zeraldo Alpaca. Thank you, Debbie. What else do we have? We have a tea towel that has a variety of different things written on it, including things that you love about Thorndale. That's from the Market on King. And then we have some jams and honey from Edible Acres. What else was there? I feel like there was something else. Anyway, lots of great stuff.
I feel like we can probably throw in like an I Love Thorndale t-shirt and swag stuff.
For sure.
Got that kicking around. Okay.
Oh, and I have to share, just because, you know, we're on here and I don't know if you're interested, but I just had a recent conversation with a couple of people from Dorchester who wants to start a I Love Dorchester. So there you go. So if you love Dorchester, look, they're going to have swag at some point.
Okay. We have so many names in our random name generator, it wants me to pay for an ad now. So nothing's ever easy. I should have just like closed my eyes and pointed to a name. Very old school. Okay, let me see. All righty. I feel like we've all watched a video like this where someone's trying to figure something out on Zoom. Ooh, okay. I'm going to share my screen. The winner of the basket is, I think, someone who had perfect attendance. So let me share my screen here. The winner is Jackie.
Yay! No, I haven't had perfect attendance, but close. I missed the first couple.
Okay, well, you made it just in time. So
Oh, cool.
congratulations, Jackie. We will round up your prize and deliver it to your door. So
Thank you.
awesome.
Lovely. You guys do a great job. Just a great job.
Thanks, Jackie. I just have to say, like, Arden, she's working around the clock on all of these things, especially the youth project. Obviously, it's something that she's very passionate about, but this is like years in the making. So I think when we met, however many years ago, she had the vision then for youth, and it's just been so difficult to get in touch with the youth, right? Like, we are figuring out, like, how do we actually, like, just communicate? And finally it just, you know, something clicked, or the parents realized, you know, this was important, and now they're all connected. So I just want to say congratulations to Arden and the youth. It is really, it's important. So I think it's important to show the kids that it's, you know, anything worthwhile is worth persevering through fires and pandemics and everything else. So I hope you're all as excited as we are about this new space. I hope you can maybe see yourself using it, you know, playing a game of pool with some friends, or you know, lounging, watching the Super Bowl together, or whatever it might be. So you know, that was our big season finale. So I hope it was worth, you know, your time tonight. Okay. All right, so we will post this recording on our website. So if you want to, you know, share it so that people know what's going on, then it'll be there. And otherwise, I guess watch for the information to come through. Like we said, we're going to be opening up the Youth Clubhouse in April for people to be able to come through and see it, and, you know, play air hockey, and kind of a month of freebies. So we'll be sure to share that information. So, and of course, everything by the COVID book. So cross your fingers that, you know, COVID just keeps on the down low. But, all right. Are there any final comments or thoughts or suggestions, or you want me to stop?
Becky, I just wanted to mention that we are working on getting a golf tournament going, and the funds will be going towards the youth clubhouse. So look for that. We're trying to sync up a date in August. So as soon as we get the golf course booked down, then we'll let everybody know what's going on. So hopefully it'll be a fun day, nothing serious. So hopefully we can get a lot of people out and have some fun.
Are you going to do golf lessons prior? Because I don't know how to golf.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I'll just show up and look amazing. Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Sherry.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you, Sherry. We included it in our newsletter today that went out, so our weekly e-newsletter that we've been doing, but Arden's rented the gym at the community center on Tuesday evening. So they're starting with some badminton, but basically we know the rental of the community center is hot, like it's hard to get a spot. So we're going to rent that, but if anybody wants to facilitate something during that time that we could offer to the community, whether it's, you know, like a floor hockey skills competition, or, you know, something, because we can't play a game of floor hockey right now, but how can we kind of tweak games and activities so that it's still competitive and fun, and something to do. So if you want to volunteer for a night to run an activity, whether it's, you know, like a 45 plus pickleball tournament, or, you know, something like that, or if it's something for youth, just let us know so that we can schedule you in for that too. So tons going on as always, but I think we should wrap her up before my assistant tells me that it's been too long. So, all right. Thanks everyone for making the first season of Skills Academy a success. Bye.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.